Well, hello there, friends and new friends. We're talking about what to plant in May for Zone 7. There's some new stuff on the menu. There's some old stuff on the menu. We'll also bring in herbs. And, can you still plant that in May? Cool season stuff. So stay tuned. All right, let's talk about the new first and why you should wait till May to start this stuff. Lima beans, eggplants, peppers, sweet potatoes, and okra. Okay, those first four, it's back to the frost states and even the freeze state. You want to make sure your potential for freeze is practically zero. Okay, I mean, there's always an anomaly, even if it's never happened before. It can still happen. I think it's 2021, Mother's Day weekend, we had a freeze. Not a frost, a freeze. And it was a very late freeze for Zone 7, particularly down here in the southeast, but it happened. I imagine at that point in time, by record, that was less than a 1% chance, but it did happen. So that's why you wait on eggplants and peppers, lima beans, sweet potatoes, because they'll stand a chance in that situation, okay? Not that you can't plant it early. This is Jules, we push everything. But that's the risk you're taking when you do it. Now for okra, there's really no reason to go earlier than May. What I'm about to say is not speculation. It's not something I read somewhere. This is from experience, okay? It's 2020. I started seed in an egg carton just to see if I could do it. And I wrapped it in aluminum foil to catch heat. And they germinated. The okra did germinate, and I had to get it out there because it's an egg carton. At the same time, I started seed in the traditional manner, 2.5-inch deep 3 cells, and they germinated. But I could hold on to them a little while, so I did. So when we got to May, roughly, early May roughly, I put those transplants out, and I put seed directly in the ground. So I had 3 types of okra. Short-rooted okra from an egg carton that had to go in immediately, April. And then I put in starts in May, because they were in 2.5-inch cells. And then I sowed them directly. End result did not matter. Okra is all about the heat. Did not matter at all how they were started. So, can you start them and then transplant them? Yes. Does it matter? No. Except if something didn't germinate. Other than that, there is no advantage. For the others, again, lima beans, eggplant, peppers, and sweet potatoes, avoid the potential for freeze at all costs, so you wait till May. Now, the older stuff, like your tomatoes, corn, winter squash, melons, things of that nature, you obviously can still plant it in May. But what you have to take into consideration is your pest cycle and even your disease cycle and even the possibility for a heat wave. Say take tomatoes, and again, this isn't speculation, this is from bona fide experience. I think it was 2021, it may have been 2022, but we had a heat wave. Now a drought, you can deal with a drought, you just run a hose or your irrigation system, but you can't deal with the heat wave. And so that summer, I think it was 10, maybe 14 days. It was a long time of a heat wave, high 90s and even over 100 in July, of course. And our Cherokee purple tomatoes, a lot of BB-sized fruit, and that's all they ever were. After that, they were done. Because when you get that hot, beyond the optimal temperature for the plants, they'll actually cease production because they're just trying to survive at that point. They're no longer trying to produce that seed, they're just going to hold off until they're healthy again. So the later you go with that stuff, the greater that risk is going to be. So if you're already in May and you don't have things up like that, your melons and tomatoes and all, do it, but try to do it for the middle of May, because the later you wait, the more your plant's going to be out there suffering while it's trying to produce in that July and August weather, essentially. And then, of course, with the squash, summer or winter, you got the vine borer to deal with. That's a timing issue, and there is no set, like, biological clock of what's optimal, what's not for the entirety of Zone 7. You have to figure that out yourself in your garden, not to mention squash bugs themselves. So just in general, the earlier you go, the better your opportunity to get some harvest. The later you go, you can get your harvest, but you will face more challenges. Now on your herbs, annuals, and even perennials, May's fine time to do it, but I don't think for a lot of it I would start with seed. Of course, cilantro, basil, dill, that's fine, but you're already in May, so you're going to have to wait a little longer. Plus, for dill and cilantro, they're prone to bolt, so kind of like the tomatoes, the longer you wait, you're going to shorten your opportunity for harvest. Now, that's if you're looking for the herb. If you're looking for the spice, it's a different ballgame. If you want dill seed, then you're fine. Keep planting it. If you want coriander, right, the seed of the cilantro, then you're fine, if that's what you're after. So it just depends on what you want there. But I'd say, like, take a rosemary or something like that. Start them from cuttings, of course, rosemary, thyme, things of that nature. But if you're starting fresh, like you don't have any, then just get some starts, because growing by seed is going to take a while. And if you are going to do it that way, you probably want to start them inside and then bring them back out. Now, can you still plant that? Well, if you talk cool season stuff, yes, but remember, the zones are based on frost dates. They're not based on climate. So if you're in a really, really hot, humid summer, it may not work at all. But either way, wherever you're at, you can still plant some cool season stuff. Just stick with leafy and shade tolerant leafy and roots, and for roots, stuff that comes quick. So for example, radish and turnip greens, say leaf lettuce, mesclun mix, collard greens, arugula, spinach, cool season spinach, not New Zealand spinach. But put that stuff in partial shade, which is a misunderstood term, but essentially that's a place that gets like 2 to 4 hours of sun, and that's it. Then the rest of the time it's shaded or dapple shaded. And even dappled shade, as long as it's dappled all day, there's probably enough sun there for the plants to do their photosynthesis and feed themselves and grow. Just don't expect, again, from personal experience, I have a video on that from years back, shady lettuce. You'll still get the produce, but it will not be the size, it won't be a comparable size if you grew it in the right season in the sun, basically. So if it's leafy or a quick short root like a turnip green or radish, you probably can get by with that as long as you don't have it in direct sun. If you're not catching on, if it's in direct sun, it's just going to bolt. It'll bolt before you have anything to eat, or, well, you'll be eating microgreens. Well, drop your comments down there. This is a complicated one. May is a transition period, of course. You're getting April stuff, you can still run in May. You have May stuff, you should start in May. You have cool season stuff, you can still start if you're in a shady area. And then, of course, there are the herbs. The only thing I didn't talk about was like raspberry and any kind of berries. All that stuff, it's best to put it out in the fall. We'll talk about that later in the year. So drop your comments, please subscribe if you have not already, and we will see you on the next one. I'm going to listen to these church bells.